Okay, how are you? Everybody fine? Semua dah balik eh? Alright. Ni, I have a small problem lah. Normally I can use my webcam tu. Tapi since last class, I cannot connect. So I don't know, so this one is just based on my computer camera. So tak apalah, I will try to address that problem. It's not important. Okay, today we're going to continue. All right, we're going to continue with our subject matter. I will look at the subsidy. Now, when we study subsidy from the economic perspective, we are looking at it from welfare perspective, and then we are going also to evaluate from the market perspective. So we are looking at the issue of subsidy by doing this. First, correct, we evaluate subsidy by the welfare perspective. All right. So number one, what we'll do, we look at the effect on welfare of the recipients. Recipients means the people who receive the subsidy. We're going to use the utility maximizing model. So utility maximizing framework. Okay, that's number one. Now, number two, we're going to look at the effect on the market. Okay, so when you look at the effect on the market, we simply use the supply-demand model. So probably this one, is a little bit new. We are going to look at this model in more detail.
But then inshallah we can have a physical class. I think what we can do is we can have both. Okay, so those who are in campus, you can attend the physical class. At the same time, we also have it online. Okay, inshallah.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam. I hope the internet is okay, because sometimes we always have problems with the internet on campus. And I just congested, I think. Yeah, but hopefully it's okay. All right. So I'll see you on Wednesday, inshallah.
Okay, thank you, madam. Okay, thank you, madam.
You're welcome. Okay, welcome. Okay, take care. Assalamualaikum.
Okay. Now, can you, are you here? Can you listen? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Tapi tadi was another class, but I think our Zoom, we can use maximum of classes. That's okay. The other class already finished. So this is our approach, all right? Our approach to the study of subsidy. We're going to look at the effect. Number one, on the utility. Number two, on the supply demand, that means on the market. Yeah, just before we go into this theoretical perspective, I just want to show you our real subsidy. Okay, one of the more important or large expenditure subsidy is what? Is the fuel subsidy. Fuel subsidy, that means the petrol, diesel, that will be included, especially around 95. Now, if you have been following news, for the past few weeks after the PKP, was lifted, Singaporean cars coming in. And one of the problem, what? They are using our subsidized RON 95 fuel. Because, that subsidy is supposed to be for just Malaysia. But Singapore is, when they come in, they also ambil benda tu. But, actually they cannot. But that is beside the point. What I want to focus here is this. What is the subsidy for petrol? RON 95 per liter. It's 170. 170. If you just imagine, we are paying, all right? At the petrol pump, we are paying 215. I think 215, the latest. 215, that's how much you pay, or we pay, or I pay. Now, on top of that, the subsidy is 170. So what is the actual price of the petrol RON 95? It's 215 plus 170. 215 plus 70, berapa dapat? 215 plus 70. That is 385. 385 per liter. Now, you just imagine, during the Hari Raya holiday baru ni, there are increase in traffic all over Malaysia, the highway. They said about 4 million vehicles moving, maybe more lah, but we just look at the increase in the number of vehicles on the road. So for 4 million, you imagine 4 million if they pump, if they pump 50 liters, 50 liters of petrol RON 95, how much is the, you multiply 50 liters per car, you have 4 million cars. Berapa tu? How many liters already? And then you multiply by the subsidy per liter, which is 170. So, for that 1 week period, there is an increase in the subsidy for that amount. And you multiply by 2 because there are 2 trips. And that is just a very conservative number. Probably there are more. All right. So that is a lot of subsidy. Now, when you look at subsidy, of course, the benefit will go to the consumers, to the recipient, or to the group that receive it. Now, on the cost side, who pay the subsidy? Who is covering the cost of the subsidy? Who pay for the subsidy? We pay. Okay, the taxpayers pay. Eventually, the taxpayers will pay, not the government. The government just take out the money, spend, but we are paying it. Regardless of what type of subsidy, the cost will be covered by the taxpayers. All right. So you have 2 types, two perspectives here. One is the benefit. All right. The benefit, of course, will go to the recipients, the consumers, or recipient, whoever the group are. And secondly, the cost. Okay. The cost will go to us. So you have to balance out. All right. You have to balance out the benefit that goes to the consumers or to the recipients and the cost, which is covered by us. All right. So I only talk about one subsidy, the RON 95 subsidy. And there are so many other subsidies, You have the tepung subsidy, rice subsidy, fertilizer subsidy. There are all kind of subsidies. Generally, okay, all those types of subsidy we can categorize them into three. All right. What are they? Number 1, price subsidy. Price subsidy is example RON 95. The fuel subsidy, that is price, because the subsidy will go to the price of the good or service. So what we pay is the subsidized price. On top of that, the government will pay. So the firm will get the full price. So that is price subsidy. Now the second one is called cash. Cash subsidy is a subsidy in which the aid will be in the form of money. Okay, cash benefit to the recipient. For example, the welfare subsidy to the old citizens, you know, or disabled citizens, or very poor household. They are given, say, 600 ringgit per month. 600 ringgit per month. So that is cash subsidy. All right. And the third type is what you call in-kind subsidy. Now, what is in-kind subsidy? They are not in terms of cash, and they are not also in terms of price. They are direct subsidy in terms of what? In terms of good. So that is what you call in-kind, in terms of good rather than cash. Example, fertilizer. You are not given the money. You are given what? You are given fertilizers. Or small rubber holdings. You are given the anak getah. Anak getah. You know anak getah, what do you call it? The small tree of rubber. The small rubber tree. All right. So they are given in terms of goods. Okay. So that is in-kind subsidy. And of course, I think in Malaysia, we use or we utilize these three types of subsidies. You have in-kind, and you have the price, and you have cash subsidy. All right. Now, second, who get the subsidy? What justify? All right. What justify certain people to get or to receive the subsidies? There are two criteria. Number one, they are called what? They are called mean tested. So mean tested, they are income or wealth based, based on income. Let's say our income is below the poverty level income, or the PLI income, you know, or we are in the B40 group. So that is what we call mean test. It's based on income or wealth for eligibility. And the other criteria for entitlement is you call status test. What is it? It's not based on income, but based on our physical condition. All right. For example, age. All right, age criteria. I am senior citizen. You know, I already reached the age of 60. So I am entitled to certain subsidy. Or children, you know, you are the children orphanage, you know, you are orphan children without parents. Or we are children below a certain age. And another criteria is disability. Disability means we are disabled. One of our sense, you know, doesn't work. One of our sense. For example, kita cacat, you know, we are disabled in terms of physical parts. You know, we are born without legs, or we lost our hands due to motorcycle accident. Kuat sangat mengempit, accident, habis tangan, habis kaki. So these are disability criteria. Okay, but some subsidies, they are not based on this. Okay, this is theory. But some subsidies, if you look at the RON 95, what is the basis of RON 95? Is there any criteria for certain people to receive that fuel subsidy?
Malaysian.
That criteria is just Malaysian. Even Singaporean pun boleh isi. Alright. Now, does it based on income or does it based on age for the fuel?
No, sir.
No, it's just based on what? Based on who you have car, you have motorcycle, pump. Even if you don't have car, you don't have motorcycle, you can bring one tank, one plastic tank, you can fill up. After that, you can sell. So there is no criteria. So, in reality, some of the subsidies, especially this RON 95, actually is neither mean tested subsidy, nor it is status subsidy. It's just based on what? Malaysian. Now, who benefit the fuel subsidy? If you look at it more detailed, who benefit? Of course, the poor, okay, the low income household benefit lah. But who are the other people who benefit even more? Siapa?
Rich people.
Rich people. If you drive Mercedes, BMW, or the luxury cars that use a lot of fuel, you use more petrol. You use more petrol, you receive more subsidy. So that kind of this kind of subsidy benefit, of course, the group, the group that you want to help, but it also benefit other groups, which was not the objective of the subsidy. So that is one problem with a certain type of subsidy. Actually, it's not the problem of that type of subsidy. It's problem of other things. Okay. So next, what you want to look at is this. The leakage, not the leakage, the cost of the subsidy. So the first cost, all right, the first cost is, of course, the actual cost, the real cost. That is the cost to the taxpayer. So cost number one, right? Cost number one is the taxpayers. We are going to pay. That's the first. Now, second cost, more of the indirect cost. Okay, more of indirect cost. Number one, these are called the leakage. Okay, the leakage. Number one, that is a burden to the society. Okay, burden. Burden is cost is one, cost is one. The burden is considered as cost plus something extra, burden to the society. That resource can also be used. This is like opportunity cost, all right? Opportunity cost. The best way to think, just relate back to the cost to the taxpayers. The cost to the taxpayers are government revenue. And those monies, all right, can be what? Can be used for other purposes. For example, let's say the fuel subsidy, around 95 subsidy. Let's say per year we spend what? Let's say 5 billion. This is just my example, maybe not. Let's say 2 billion, 2 billion ringgit on fuel subsidy per year. Just 1 year. Now, what is alternative use? That is the opportunity cost, okay? We're talking about opportunity cost of that resource. What is the opportunity cost of that money? What are the alternative use of that money? 2 billion ringgit. Okay, you are students, what do you think the money can be used for, which is maybe better than giving away in terms of subsidy for fuel?
I bet every student.
Give scholarship to the students, so that 2 billion, all the university, all the students in UAE can get free education. 2 billion, maybe less, you know. So what is the difference? What is the advantage? If you know, if the money is given to the students in terms of loan or scholarship, it's more beneficial because you are investing in what? You are investing in human capital. That benefit will go to the future, not just now. Okay, so there are many other alternative use. You give or you build universities, build hospital, you know, encourage people to become doctors, you know, so that we can have a better healthcare system and things like that. So that is what you mean. Okay, number 2, administrative cost. To administer the subsidy, that require cost. That is what you call the leakage in terms of administration. For example, let's say 5 million is allocated for the fertilizer subsidy, maybe 10 million. In order to do that, like I said earlier, maybe you have to have an agency. You hire, you know, you appoint you have to appoint the director, and the cost is already 6 million. So you have left 4 million that will go to the household all over Malaysia, not just one state. It's all over the country, right? So that is administrative cost. Okay, and what is next? Taxation on higher income individual. Okay, the one that is more relevant is what we were talking about earlier. It does not, okay, it may not achieve the objective of the subsidy. It may not benefit, all right, it may not benefit only the target group. It may benefit other people, okay? So there is the cost. There is one of the costs. Good example, like I said earlier, the fuel subsidy. The target group probably B40, all right, B40 household. But the benefit also goes to whom? Other people, other group, you know, the T20 also will get the benefit. So this is another cost in terms of, you know, spillover benefit. The benefit will go to other than the target group, all right? Okay, the other one is this. Oh no, this is not the cost lah. This is the side effect. Okay, this is the side effect. Oh, in terms of that cost. Okay, so the implication there is that in order to reduce the leakage, okay, to reduce leakage in terms of benefit to non-target group. For example, the fuel subsidy, they benefit other groups other than the targeted group. So this is what you call leakage. So what you can do here is to reduce that kind of leakage. Maybe the government can do more of better, okay? Better administration or better implementation of the targeted subsidy. Let's say the target is what? The target of the subsidy to help B40 household for the fuel subsidy. So make sure the target is achieved. All right, the target is achieved. That means only this group will benefit, not the T20. All right, but under our current system, it doesn't work that way. So the government is, okay, I think the government is devising some mechanism so that the fuel subsidy will be more targeted oriented. That means we benefit the target group rather than other groups. But it's not that easy. Sometimes if you look at the fuel, the RON 95 subsidy, it's quite difficult to devise a mechanism. Last time they suggested using a cut, a fuel cut. That can work, because if you have the cut, for those people who have the cut, they are entitled to the subsidy. I think the idea was there last time, but they didn't implement it. Okay, so that is on the cost subsidy. This is more of the side effect of subsidy. This is more of the change in behavior. Incentive to change your behavior when you are the recipient of a certain type of subsidy. All right. For example, if you look at the first one, okay, you read the first one. How do you understand that?
If the program, let's say, target B40, some people who are M40 target to be more poor to get the incentive.
So to get the benefit, to continue to get the benefit of that certain type of subsidy, let's say income subsidy, for a certain level of income, all right? Now, certain household or certain people, you will want to continue to be in that group because you receive that subsidy. If you become a little bit more higher income, then you don't get it, all right? So one incentive is that we will have incentive to continue to be what? To be in that group, okay? In that group, which is eligible for the subsidy in order for you to receive subsidy. So in short, if you just read what is written in the book, certain people, cannot all, certain people has incentive to continue to be poor in order to get the subsidy. Okay, example senang. Let's say certain subsidy require our monthly income 3,500. If you got 3,500, we get subsidy RM 500. So what? My incentive is to continue to be there. Okay, to continue to be there in that group so that I get 500. If I work harder, I get my income RM 4,000. Okay, then I don't get this one. So here you get 3,500 equal to 4,000. Subsidy 500. Here you got 4,000, no subsidy. So that is a certain type of incentive, change of behavior in order to continue to receive the subsidy. If you look at some countries, they make a certain additional incentive. Okay, they make additional incentive to encourage people to work hard. Okay, to work to get more income rather than just give that subsidy. They have a certain conditions or certain other sensitive, certain other incentives. Okay, that's number one. Number two, number two is the one that I was talking about. Our failure to achieve the objective of the subsidy, which is what? Which is the target group. So that is another side effect. Okay, side effect. I think side effect. The side effect of the subsidy. All right. This is real, because people will behave that way. Now, if you remember, do you remember when the Prophet Muhammad migrated to Medina? These people, the Muslims coming from Mecca, were mainly poor. They didn't bring any of their wealth because of the situation. They are poor. Now, what subsidy were given to them when they arrived in Medina? If you have read the, some of the stories, you may know. Okay, what subsidy do they get?
House.
In fact, they were given certain subsidy, but the Prophet said what? Don't give them what? Don't give them money. Okay? Don't give them money or don't give them food. Give them what? Give them rope. Okay? Give them camel. All right? Or give them sheep. So that what? So that they can work. So, from there, you can see the subsidy that is given is what? It's more in terms of don't give them fish. What do you give them?
Rod.
You give the fishing rod. Okay, if you give them fish, they eat the fish, that's gone. But if you give them fishing rod, they will go and fish by their own. They can continue to get fish. So that idea, that idea of subsidy, even in the time of the Prophet, is already being what? It's already being oriented toward what? Toward investment. Not just give consumption subsidy. Of course, it can be given also to a certain extent, but give what? Don't give them food, give them rope. So by having rope, they can go find other things by using that rope. So that is what? That is capital or investment. So that kind of subsidy, if we apply it to now, we don't give money. What do you give? You give education, you give training. Okay. For example, during my time when I was small, we are poor. I think most of the household are poor, in the 60s, 70s. What did the government do? The government give education to us. When you give education, that can benefit not just those poor children, but also the country long term. Rather than giving you what? Giving us monthly, you get 500 ringgit. That is what? That's consumption subsidy. Okay. If you do that, if you give that kind of subsidy, there will be, there will be less this negative incentive. All right. Okay. So, ini pun sama lah ni. Alright, so tak payah tengok. Alright, so now what I want to do, we want to look at the subsidy and the effect of subsidy on the consumer. Okay, on the consumer. So we're going to use the utility maximizing framework in order to look at the effect of subsidy on the recipients. This type of subsidy in the book, they call it price subsidy. Dia disebut price. Mana nak hilangkan benda ni? Siapa nak tengok dia tu? Alright, so you have the price subsidy. So we are going to do this, all right? We're going to look at the effect of price subsidy on welfare or utility. Okay, now in order to do that, we look at number one. Just I want to review, okay, because we want to look at two effects. One is the income effect. The other is the substitution effect. So in order to do that, you have to look at the budget line. Now, what is a budget line? Now, if you recall, budget line is your income, okay, your income line. Now, let's consider two goods. Call it XY. Or XY can be housing, and if you look at the book, there is your housing and other goods. Okay, or we can use the fuel 95. Okay, this is petrol, and the other one is, say, rice. Okay, petrol and rice, two goods. And then you have income. We denote by I, and income is considered as constant, fixed. Certain for a particular period of time, income is fixed, right? Doesn't change. And you have two prices. The price of X, we call it PX, and the price of Y, we call it PY. So the income line or the budget line is I equal to what? Equal to PX times X plus PY times Y. So you have two goods, and these goods, X and Y, are the variables. The prices are also constants, okay, given. So what you can do, you can write in terms of Y and X. So you make certain adjustment, PY and Y, you bring to the other side. The income or the PX and X, you bring to the other side, you got that. So in terms of Y, you have 1 over I over PY minus X over PY. Okay, now, what are they? There are two things here. Number one, I over PY. So you have some, for that this equation, you have I over PY, but you can also have I over PX. All right, and the other one is PX over PY. Of course, with that negative sign one. So PX over PY. Okay, what is PX over PY? This is the slope, all right? The slope of the budget line. We call this relative price or price ratio. And this is called real income. Now, what is real income? If you look at income, I, okay, I is in terms of RM. Say, for example, 1,000 ringgit. Okay, that's our income fixed. When you divide by the prices, either PX or PY, that is real income. Now, what is the difference between money income, I, and I over P, the real income? What is the difference?
Adjusted by price.
You suppose, all right? Suppose PX is equal to 10. Suppose PY is equal to 5. Okay. Now, if I divide I over PY, what do I get?
200.
200. So what is that 200? That 200 is what you call a real income. Now, real income, for example here, I over PY equal to 200. Now, this is not in RM. Okay, 200 is not in RM. RM was 1,000. If I divide by the price, I got 200. So what does it mean? 200 of what? Imagine Y. Y is rice. Okay, we use Y, rice. So I divide 1,000, which is my income, with the price of Y, which is 5, I got 200. So what is that 200?
Quantity.
Quantity. So that is what you call real income. Real income is not in terms of money. It is in terms of what? In terms of quantity of the good. So here I divide by the price of rice, price of Y. So in terms of what? The quantity in terms of Y. So if I spend all my income $1,000, 1,000 ringgit on rice, how much I get rice? 200 units, whatever the units are, maybe kilograms. All right. So 200 here, or real income in terms of quantity, in terms of goods. All right. It's not in terms of money. And PY over PX is the relative price. The relative price between the two goods. If you have PX over PY, okay, 10 over 2. Oh, no, 10 over 5. 10 over 5 is what? Is 2. So the relative price is 2. Relative price between X and Y is 2. If the price of Y increases, there will be some change in that price ratio. Sometimes you call it price ratio. Okay. So if the price of, you look at that example with a negative sign, but you don't need the negative sign. PX over PY and over 5. That is equal to the negative sign, negative 2. Negative here, meaning the line will be what? Downward sloping, like the demand function. Suppose the price of Y goes up. Okay. Now, what is the price ratio now? What is the relative price? To be equal to negative 10 over 10. That is negative 1. So you see here, the relative price of the price ratio will be different. Okay. All right. What is the significance of this? Okay, the real income here, all right, real income. This is what we call the income effect. PI over PY or I over PX. In terms of the budget line, we talk about income effect. That means the effect of income. All right, effect on our income. And the relative price here, PX over PY, that is the substitution effect. Okay, so what we are talking about here is this. I'm talking into a little bit more detail, okay, because when you look at the utility maximizing behavior, we want to look at these two things. So if you look at the budget line, I write down here again, Y equal to I over PY minus PX over PY times X. All right. Now let's say the price of Y was equal to 5. Okay, price of Y equal to 5. And now the price of Y increases, okay, increase to 10. All right. Now, what about your real income? Given the income was 1,000, what about your real income when the price of Y goes up?
Quantity reduce.
Reduce. All right. So that is income effect. So that is the income effect. So when you have income effect, the price increase. What is the effect on your real income? Okay, effect on real income. So that is called income effect. Our income will be what? Be reduced. Okay, so income effect, higher price, your real income reduced. Lower price, let's say the price of Y go down. What happened to the real to the income effect? Real income. Income still 1,000. increase lah. Okay, so your real income increases. So that is what you mean by income effect. Income effect is on this one. Okay, but not just the price of Y. You can also have the price of X. Okay, if the price of X increases, you can also have what? Real income going down. You can also have the change in income, right? If the income change, the real income also can change. Okay. Now, substitution effect, that means from the relative price, you will substitute. Okay, you will substitute. Now, how do we substitute? Let's say the price of rice was 5. The price of petrol was 10. All right. So the price ratio was 2. Okay, 2 over 1. That means for 1 unit of rice, I can get for 1 unit of rice or for 1 unit of petrol, I can get 2 rice. All right. So now, the price of petrol, okay, the price of petrol, no, why was what? Why was rice? The price of rice, I think kita guna ni je. We use the price of petrol. Okay, price of petrol 10, price of Y 5. Okay, sekarang nak tengok petrol because petrol, nak imagine. So suppose the price of X, which is petrol, increases to 20. All right. So our relative price now becomes what? Becomes -4. So for 1 unit of petrol, I can get 4 units of rice. So just common sense. If the price of petrol goes up 20, price of rice doesn't change. Relatively, if you think about substitute, who or what good do you substitute into? Are you going to consume more rice or are you going to consume more petrol?
More rice.
You consume more rice. So that is the substitution effect. Okay, substitution effect means you will substitute from the more expensive good to the cheaper good. Okay, so that is substitution effect. The way to look at it is by looking at the price ratio. So there are 2 effects. Okay, there are 2 effects of price increase. Okay, or price increase or price decrease. You have these 2 effects. Okay, all right. So that is basically on the budget line. All right, now given the budget line, you have here X, Y. So I still use I equal to PXX plus PYY. So the budget line will look like this. Okay, just like the demand function, it's downward sloping. So you got I equal to, no, I am sorry, Y equal to I over PY minus PX over PY times X. So what you can do, I give you homework question, the one that I give you earlier, okay? The first one, income 1,000, price of X 10, price of Y 5. You sketch the budget line, okay? So do it. Now we don't have time, but the budget line will look like this, okay? And this is the real income, I over PY. And that is the real income also in terms of X, I over PX. And the slope is negative PX over PY. That's the slope. So the substitution effect is the slope. The income effect is I over Py. Right? And if we assume, of course, this is the behavior of the individual of the household, we have utility maximizing behavior. So it's U. So this is our equilibrium. We consume X star, Y star. Okay, so that is the equilibrium point. All right. But for now, since we are going to look at the effect of subsidy, I'm going to use equilibrium. We denote by certain number. So E0, X0, Y0. So that B is B0, that U is U0. Okay, all right. Now, suppose the price of X goes up. Price of X goes up. Okay, for our example here, the price of petrol. Okay, I think guna X to petrol kan, petrol X. So the price of petrol was increased. Okay, price of petrol increases. Example, from 10, literally 10, going up to 20. So you see the slope. Previously it was -2, now becomes -4. All right? Okay, when the price of Y increases, what happened to, no, I'm sorry, the price of X, okay? Price of X increases. So price of X increases. So that's the budget line. What about I over PY? Is there any change to the, no change. So the intercept will be there, same point, okay? The only thing that changed, not the only thing, no, there are two things also changed, but the first thing is that the slope. The slope becomes what? From -2 becomes -4, okay? Because the price of X goes up. Now, when the slope increases, we know the negative sign, the sign is sloping downward. So where is the shift of the budget line? Is it to the left or is it to the right? Is it outside, inside?
Inside.
Inside lah. Okay, it will go inside because the slope now becomes steeper. Steeper too. Okay. So the budget line will move in. The price of X goes up. You see the slope was -2, now becomes -4. Now negative, you just imagine the line is going downward. So slope 2 and slope 4, which one is steeper? 4. Okay, so you have steeper 4. So the budget line will shift inside. But the real income, in terms of I over PX, okay, what happens? Decreases. Okay, all right, decreases. So when you have, okay, when you have the price of X increases, there is two effects here. One is your income effect. Okay, but also the price ratio also change. So there will be substitution effect. So there are two effects. One is income, one is substitution. Okay, now you look at the income effect. Now, income effect, look at it. I over PX. What about your income? After the price goes up, what about your income? Income will be lower. Okay, so income lower, negative effect. All right, what is the substitution effect? Substitution effect, as you know, we are going to substitute into what? Into the cheaper good. All right, into the cheaper good. So you substitute into cheaper good. So that is the substitution effect. So in this case here, rice becomes cheaper relative to petrol, or Y now becomes cheaper relative to the what? Relative to the X. Okay, all right. So this one, how do they substitute? Kita tengok. All right, good. So once you have that change in the budget line, we can see the equilibrium point. Okay, equilibrium point, which show the utility maximizing behavior given the new budget line, right, will be what? Will be different. All right. Now I follow the example in the book. So they will move to somewhere here. That is U1. I call this B1. So I have equilibrium somewhere there. So that is E2. No, E1. So I have Y1. I have X1. Okay, now this diagram is in the book. If you look at the book, the diagram is given in the book, chapter 7. But if you draw this, it's better. So I give you time. Okay, you look at this diagram. I give you a few minutes for you to draw. Draw a nice diagram that always helps in our analysis. So you can draw now. Okay, I give you time. So the thing is, all right, you have the price of X, okay, the price of X increases. The price of X increase. Okay, all right. Okay, all right, good. So this is what I said if the price increases. Okay, okay, now this is familiar. Okay, this diagram is familiar. Now, when you look at the effect of subsidy, price subsidy, okay, we are going to draw a similar diagram, but the effect would be slightly different. Okay, so now let's look at the subsidy. So if I have the income budget line, I write down in terms of Y, okay, because we already have written in terms of Y. So I got Y I over Px minus Px over Py X. All right, so I'll give you another homework. Okay, another practice homework. What you do here is you draw another diagram. Suppose the price of X decreases. Okay, the price of X decreases. Price of X, you have 20. The original price was equal to 10. Okay, this is the original price, 10. Number one, you have the price goes up to 20. Now, the price of X go down to say 5. Okay, so you draw another budget line when that thing is, when the price of X decreases. Okay, all right. So now let's look at the subsidy. Suppose X is subsidized. Our example, X is petrol. All right. So petrol is subsidized, and we are given the price subsidy. Okay. So the price subsidy, let's say the price of petrol from 4 ringgit now going down to the subsidized price 215. Okay. So remember 215, remember 215 plus 170. Okay, so 385. So that is the original price. Given subsidy 170, all right, subsidy equal to 170. So what is the price now? The price will be equal to 250. So the price goes down. All right, okay. All right, so suppose X is subsidized, that is the price subsidy. Now, when you look at the subsidy, it's just the opposite of tax. Okay, so subsidy is equal to what? The price the firm get, okay, is equal to the price the consumers pay, PC plus consumers, not competitive price, not price consumers, plus the subsidy. So if we want to rewrite in terms of how much we pay, that is PC, PF minus the subsidy. So S is the subsidy, PC, consumer's price, PF, firm's price. Okay. Okay, all right. So now suppose the X is given subsidy. Okay, X is given subsidy. In other words, the original price of the X, say 385, all right? Now you are given the subsidy, the price will go down to 215. So that PX is PC lah. Okay, so PC is, so PC here is equal to PF, which is the price firm get 385 minus 170. So you get 215. So that is the price. The price will be reduced by the amount of the subsidy. Okay, all right. So in other words, if you are given subsidy, the price of X will just go down. All right, will just go down by what? By the amount of the subsidy. Okay. So for example, I just write down the numerical example lah. Say Y equal to I over, okay, the original price is 385. The I minus PX over PY 385 over PY X. Now, after the subsidy, what is the budget line? The budget line will be equal to I over 215 minus 215 divided by PY. So that is the effect. All right. The effect is you have lower price of X because X is the subsidized good. Okay. All right. So now, when you have the price of X subsidized, that means the price of X becomes cheaper. So what happened to the budget line? So let me just, first of all, draw the original budget. I say this is X, that is Y. So initially it will be just like that. So that is B0, 0. So this one, before subsidy lah, okay, no subsidy. So that is our reference budget line, okay? So you have, for example, yang ni lah, okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
For the equation, for I, is it I over price of Y or income over price of X?
Oh yeah, thank you. I over, PY. Ni PY.
PY kan?
Betul PY. Nasib baik awak cakap. Saya pergi bukan PX pula. Okay, PY. So sini PY ni tau, no change. Okay, thank you. So PY, sini pun PY. Alright. But from here, you have to look at I over PX. Okay. But it will come after you draw the budget line. Alright. So thank you. Nasib baik cakap cepat. Kalau diam je, habis kita. Okay, that was not right. That was wrong. Okay, ini betul ni. Okay, so I over PY. So when the price of X decreases, okay, the price of X decreases, the real income in terms of Y, here, there is no change. All right. The change will be the relative price, the price ratio. Now, suppose PY, okay, you imagine PY was what, 5? 5, doesn't change. So now I have 3.85 over 5, 2.15 over 5. Or you just imagine the one that I put previously, 10 over 5, which is -2. Now it reduced to 5. Okay, so you got -5 over 5, which is -1. Okay, so what happened to the budget line? Which way does it move? To the right or to the left? Or, yeah, right or left? If you have the price increases, the shift was inside. Betul tak? Because we know that already. If the price of X decreases, then where does it go to? Must be to the right. Okay.
Upward.
Outward. Outward will be like that. So that is B1. Okay. So I write down here again. I write down many times, because so that we can understand better. So I write down here before the subsidy. Okay. I have B0. Y equal to I over PY minus PX over PY X. Okay, that was before the subsidy. Now, after subsidy, PX will go down. Okay, because the effect is here, PC. Okay, PX will go down by the amount of what? By the amount of the subsidy. Okay, so PX will go down. Now, when your PX goes down, I have a new budget line, B1, Y equal to I over PY minus, now I call PX1 over PYX. So I over PY, no change. PX reduces. So PX over PY now becomes smaller. Okay, so become smaller will mean what? The line will be flatter. Okay. So example, okay, example you think about yang tadi ya, -10 over 5. I have -2. Now, let's say the price of X go down to 5. So now you have -5 over 5. That becomes -1. So smaller, flatter. So flatter. So it moves to the right. Okay? All right, good. But our example is real. Okay, because we are looking at what? We are looking at the petrol around 95. So this is a fact. The price is 215. 215 lah. Go 205. Tak apalah. Tak banyak lagi. Subsidy was 170 according to that news. So this subject to change, all right? Subject to change because sometimes every few weeks they will change. But the point is, after the subsidy, we pay a lower price. So that is the consumer. So the budget line will move to the left. So our equilibrium point before the subsidy, all right, our subsidy before the subsidy is B0. I want to draw it nicely so that so that is U0. I got here E0. So that will be Y0, X0. After the subsidy, all right, after the subsidy, what you get would be somewhere here. You draw nice, okay? I may not be able to draw it so nice. Sebab dia, susah benda ni. Tu dia. Okay, that's U1. So I got equilibrium here, E1. Tu dia. I got X1. I got Y1. Okay. All right. So E1 is the equilibrium after subsidy. So what you do for these two equilibrium, because you are going to do the comparative statics, you're going to compare the equilibrium. Before the subsidy, okay, what is the equilibrium? Equilibrium E0. X equal to X0, Y equal to Y0. So that is our baseline, okay? Our baseline because we're going to compare that with that thing. Now, after the subsidy is given, price goes down, okay? Now, why prices go down? Go back to what I said earlier in the previous page. The price goes down, you have equilibrium where? E1. X equal to X1, Y equal to Y1. Okay, now, look at the equilibrium. Make the comparison. What can we say?
GTX increase.
First, okay, good. First, the consumption of the subsidized good will increase. So you see here, X1 is bigger than X0. All right, so in other words, what? X increases. Now, what is X? X is the one that I give the subsidy, not I give government. That is the subsidized good. Quantity increase. Okay, the quantity. I did write down the quantity. So tulis atas tu, quantity. Okay, or consumption of the subsidy or the subsidized good increases. That is the direct effect. Okay, as I subsidize petrol, that means people tend to use more petrol. Okay, because price is cheaper. All right. Okay. Now, what happened to? Okay, what is next? I'm not saying it. I want you to say. Okay, what is second?
Consumption of Y decreases.
Number 2, consumption of Y decreases. Y1 is less than Y0. What does it mean? It means Y decreases. So what is Y? Y is the consumption or the quantity of the other good. The other good is not subsidized, no? The other good, the unsubsidized decreases. You see? So here we have what? We have the 2 effects. Number 1, you have the income effect. I over PX be higher. Okay? So that is the real income. Okay, real income's higher. What is the other one? The other one, you'll see here, I have consumed more X, I consume less Y. So what is it? That is the substitution effect. I substitute Y, I substitute X for Y, I substitute Y for X. Itu English. Kadang-kadang kita pun prank. If I consume more X, do I say I substitute Y for X? I think I substitute Y for X. Ke I substitute X for Y? Which one is which?
Y for X.
So I substitute Y for X. Okay, thank you. Kadang saya pun pening kat menatang ni. Substitute Y for X. That means I increase X, I consume less Y substitute. So here, there are 2 effects. When you are given subsidy, the price of that good decreases. There will be 2 effects. 1, income effect. You have more real income. All right. Here, I over PX. All right. And then I have substitute. You consume more of the cheaper good. Okay. You consume more of the cheaper good. That is the substitution effect. So that is what I want to write down. So number 1, with the price of X decreases, all right, that means through the subsidy, then there are 2 effects. Number 1, I over PX increases. That means real income increases. Now, because the price of X goes down, I have more real income. All right. If I spend all my money on X, I can buy more X with the same amount of income. So real income increases. That is the income effect. All right. That's the income effect. Number 2, you have what? You have X increases, Y decreases. And you can see the price ratio here decreases. Don't worry about this. Just look at this thing here. So what? So there will be substitution effect. I substitute Y for X. I consume more. Consume X increase. Betul tak? Increase consumption. Okay, increase consumption of the subsidized. So an example that we have been using, petrol is subsidized, 170. So what will the consumers do? We spend more on petrol. We consume more petrol. All right. Of course, we assume the other goods, rise, the price don't change. Okay. All right. Any question? Any comment? Okay. That's number 1. Number 2. Number 3. What is number 3? Daripada diagram je. You don't have to look anything bit further than the diagram. Just look at the diagram. You compare the equilibrium E0, compare equilibrium E1. What else can we observe?
utility shift.
Utility shift. All right. Utility is what? Is increased. Okay. So our utility has gone up from U0 to U1. So that is important because that is welfare. All right. So you can see here, utility increases because U1 is bigger than U0. So when utility increases, we say the recipient or the consumers, okay, consumers or recipient, better off. Okay, better off, higher utility. All right. So welfare is better. Of course, you know, we are given the subsidy. Of course, we are better off. Okay. So you have three effects. Okay, one is two effect lah. If I put in together the change in the X and the change in that Y, that can be one effect. And of course, you can break it down into income effect and the substitution effect. And number two is what? Welfare. Our welfare is better. Utility has increased. We are better off. Okay. All right. So that is the effect of the price subsidy on the consumer. Okay. All right. So I take a few more minutes. All right. I take a few more minutes because we have only 6 weeks left. After this, 5 weeks. After that, end of the semester. So I will take a little bit of your time. I hope nobody has a class at 1 o'clock. Okay. All right. Now, I want to look at another type of subsidy. We call it income subsidy. Cash. Okay. Income subsidy or cash subsidy. So here you are given cash. You are given income. You are not given a reduction in the price. All right. So if you go back to our budget line, I equal to PXX plus PYY, or you look at I over PY minus PX over PYY. Okay, subsidy is given in terms of cash. We call it capital S. That is subsidy. All right, small s, okay, small s ni subsidy up. But this is price subsidy. Okay. Price subsidy or subsidy per unit. But now we are talking about the subsidy expenditure, capital S. So suppose S is equal to 500. So that is the S. It's already expenditure, not in terms of price. But here we're talking about what? Price subsidy, small s. All right, S is equal to 170 for that petrol. Okay, so if you are given the subsidy, say S equal to 500, you imagine 500. Then suppose initially our income, all right, before the subsidy, I equal to I0. Suppose 1,000. Just imagine now 1,000. So our B0, Y equal to I0. Salah. I0 untuk kat bawah ya. I0 over PY minus PX over PY. Okay, now PX, PY sama je. Okay. Okay, any problem? Tak ada ya? Alright.
PXX.
PX?
PXX over
Ya, betul. Saya ni sebenarnya dah lapor ni. Dia kalau puasa tak lapor. Orang puasa ni lapor jadi. Dia cakap banyak. Okay, so that is our B0. Alright. Now, you are given the subsidy S. Okay, S. Our initial income I0. after the subsidy, B1, all right? So B1, after the subsidy, S, okay, subsidy is equal to S. Our income now equal to what? I1 equal to I0 plus S. Okay? So katakan 1,000, imagine now 1,000, so I1 become 1,000 plus 500. Okay, 1,500. So our B1 be equal to Y, I1, all right, over PY minus PX over PY. So that I want to imagine now 1,500, I0 to 1,000. All right, now that is important on the drawing of the budget line. So I draw the budget line. This is X, this is Y. So that is the B0. Okay. Now you look at the budget line again. Income has increases. All right. We know income has increases. I1 though is bigger than I0 because of the subsidy. So income has increased. Right? Now prices don't change. PX, PY don't change because there is no price subsidy. Subsidy is only on your income. So what happened to I over PY, your real income?
Increases.
Increase. Your real income, not just I over PY. If you look at I over PX, somewhere up. Okay. So real income increase. Okay, that's number one. Number two, what about the price ratio here? The slope.
That's the same.
The same. Okay. So that is important. When you give your income subsidy, the one that changes is only your real income. Slope do not change. All right. So what happened is that the budget line will shift outward because of the higher real income. So I over PY will go there. I over PX will go somewhere there. But slope did not change. So you have two. So that is our B1. So you have what? I have a parallel shift like that. Okay, so that is the difference. You have only income effect. Okay, only income effect because real income has increased. But substitution effect, no. I PX over PY, no change. Okay, remain the same. Okay, no change. So you have only income effect. There will be no real, there will be no substitution effect. Okay, all right, good. So what happened here? Okay.
Utility.
Tunggu sekejap, kita buat utility, okay? I will stop after I draw the utility function. Suppose our E0 is here. So that is U0. I have E0 there. That is Y0. That's X0. Now, you are given the income subsidy. I got U1 over there. Y1, X1. That is U1. Okay. So, what you do, you describe your E0, describe E1, you make the comparative statistics. So you just repeat what we do in the previous subsidy. Okay, all right. And then I want you to look at what is the difference. Okay, what is the difference? So I will, I want you to go home, you know, spend a few minutes, do this thing here. Okay, do this thing and then compare benda ni, okay, dengan your price subsidy. What are the difference and what are the similarities? Okay, just look at the difference. So you will look at the similarities. So similarities. Okay, all right. So next time, we will compare these two. So if you look at the diagram in the book, they make already the comparison. So they draw just one diagram, and then you look at the changes, and then you will also look at the comparison. So next time I will make the comparison between the price subsidy and the income subsidy. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. I think I will see you again on Wednesday. Oh yeah, Wednesday. Wednesday we have face-to-face. Okay. I have to make up also one class with you. All right. But I will talk about that later on. So face-to-face, Wednesday. We already didn't have any face-to-face classes since Ramadan. So after Raya, kita buat face-to-face. All right. So face-to-face, Wednesday. Now for the week after that, I'm going to discuss on Wednesday lah. So probably, I need to do Monday face-to-face also to make up for the one that we did in Ramadan. You have face-to-face you have online for Wednesday. So maybe, next few weeks, we have both Monday, Wednesday, face-to-face to cover up for the one that we did online Wednesday classes. So that one I will discuss with you on Wednesday. Otherwise, if you think that we continue with our just previous schedule, then we continue. Monday online, Wednesday face-to-face. If you want to make up, then for the next few weeks, we have both classes, Monday, Wednesday, face-to-face to cover for the Ramadan. Okay, that one we discuss Wednesday. Okay, all right. Any question, anything? Okay, good. So, buat benda ni tau. Buat benda ni. You go home, do this analysis a little bit. Okay, salah pun tak apa. You are not talking about getting right or getting wrong. You do the comparison Wednesday, we'll discuss. Okay, all right, good. So I'll see you again Wednesday. Have a nice time. We are still in Shawwal. So stop lah raya tu. Okay. Cukup lah raya. Kita balik lah tu. Okay. Alright. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alright. Salam. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.